The waters of Skye have been changing colour. We know that seawater has no colour, but different colour reflections enter our eyes. Sometimes we see blue, other times we see brown or green. Yet in recent years, seawater has been dominated by different hues and multiple Pantones. You're looking at Pantone 1555U, are looking at Pantone 1565U, are looking at Pantone 4A6U, are looking at Pantone 1645U, are looking at Pantone 157U. Salmon today would be grey, but salmon can also be red or pink, or even salmon. In Skye, we heard of a house sparrow that had turned salmon. It was believed to have eaten one of the pinkifying feed pellets from a salmon farm. Like a flamingo eating shrimps, the sparrow also turned salmon. Salmon is coloured artificially with pigments to make its flesh acquire the ideal salmon tone. It is heavily dependent on antibiotics to fight disease and parasites, like lethal sea lice, resulting from swimming in circles in close proximity. Hundreds of kilos of salmon manure sink through the open nets. Their excrements are deposited at the bottom of the sea, suffocating the entire ecosystem underneath and creating dead zones. After decades of overfishing and exhaustive salmon farming, Skye's waters have reached a point where seasonal productivity, ecology and employment need to be rethought. Climavore explores how to eat as climate changes. Different from carnivore, omnivore, locavore, vegetarian or vegan diets, it is not so much the ingredients that define Climavore, but rather the infrastructural responses to human-induced climatic events. Different from intensive salmon farming that produces an excess of nitrogen, other creatures do opposite processes. They clean the water by breathing. So do other filter feeder bivalves like clams, scallops, razor clams and barnacles, and seaweeds like kelp, sea lettuce or dulse. After sourcing oysters from naturally occurring beds, it was later discovered that they could be grown in oyster tables. On the Isle of Skye, the Climavore oyster table functions as a dining table and opens the discussion around other aqua-cultures that could happen. Every day at high tide, the structure allows its 1,000 oysters to breathe, plus each one filters up to 120 litres of seawater per day. At low tide, the oyster table emerges above the sea and functions as a dining table where we place some humans. Over breakfast, lunch or dinner, according to the tides, performative meals feature a series of Climavore ingredients, where workshops with fishermen, politicians, residents and scientists have been held to discuss another cultural imaginary for the island. Aiming to divest away from salmon farming and develop alternative aquacultures, a network of restaurants was also established. Each replaced farmed salmon with a Climavore dish. The ongoing project is expanding into a new permanent installation, the Climavore Station. This will become a place to rethink coastal policy and facilitate small-scale independent initiatives to regenerate Skye's waters. The Climavore Station will provide legal advice and consultancy on how to open your own oyster or seaweed farm, while supporting water monitoring studies. A programme of apprenticeships for local teenagers from the professional cooking school will provide work placements at local food establishments. Slowly, people coming up to Skye in Scotland would ask for Skye kelp, Skye dulse, Skye oysters, or Skye mussels, ingredients that regenerate the coast by breathing in this era of increasingly evident man-induced climatic events. On the tidal zone, we can determine what we eat. as climate changes.